So, okay, we have all this, managing expectation or discussion and everything.
Yeah.
But, when a student is like thinking about, okay, I'll step into the domain of research now.
Mhm.
So, deciding the niche can sometimes become a challenge for certain students. So
Mhm.
how should we go about deciding or developing a research niche to work on early on in our career while balancing trying things out, learning broadly as well?
Yeah. I think that's a difficult thing. I could not difficult for me to give the right answer to that. It's it should be all well. I think what important is also if you let's say let me have to explain a little bit more. The department I was working on has about 250 students, staff, PhD students, master students from about 10, 15 different nationalities. So one of the things that people who go into the big community, they can learn, of course, from each other again. So we also organize every week seminars. So they either they have to give a seminar or listen to seminars. So you get exposed to a broad scope of research. Sometimes maybe it's in the beginning you think, okay, genes in genetics research, I don't want to do that, but sometimes it can catch you because you can need it. And then you can communicate, you can collaborate, and then sometimes something nice comes out of that. So it's kind of breeding situation where you can just things can go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that explanation. So, Professor Vishal, do you have any second?
Yeah.
This?
Yeah. So that's a very important question and a valid question, that if you find that the researcher or the student is so much eager to do some research, and there are limitations in actually getting the information, the resources, even getting the minimum information, as we call it, review of literature or literature, then the possibility of you going is to do a pilot study. What we do is we ask the researcher, keeping all that what is there in our hands, say clinics, the sample size, the type of sample which she or he wants, we tell them to do a 3 month quick study on doing that, and that will define the kind of outcome which we are looking for, a PhD outcome. Suppose the sample is not there, we are predicting that we will see these number of retinal degenerative cases, but in a particular setting where you have been taken the ethical clearance to do that, and unfortunately you do not have more than one case in 3 months, obviously keeping that mind in that time factor, you will be not able to get the minimum sample size difference decided by the formulas. So doing a sample study, doing self-analysis, and as Professor said very clearly, that a group discussion, finding out the SWOT, we call it strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges or threats, is what you have to keep in mind. And sometimes in India, we devise new systems. We challenge the normal tradition. Say if I have to go and check for the pupil size in a particular case, I'll have to use a pupilometer. But in that case, if I don't have, I'll use a torchlight and a scale. So that is improvisation which you will get you driving, though you will have to validate your findings. You'll have to compare your manual way of measuring the pupil size as compared to pupilometer, which is more accurate and defined by the studies. But this will give a drive to that student. And there are many studies, Professor, that our own students, PhD scholars, have devised certain things and certified by microbiologists or pathologists for getting the sample size, say getting a scraping from a meibomium cell culture, so from the lower conjunctiva, for finding out that these cells are degenerating because of some particular therapy or particular pharmacological agent. So all those things can be improvised, but that is the idea. We have to push them, do a pilot study, and then you should be ready to change the objectives or even minor modification of your title, not major.
Thank you. Very well explained that one.